Alright, so I've made some notes. First of all, cost. In the UK, the duplex, to import it, once you're finished with duties and such, costs this amount of money. Is it worth the cost? To me, yes. I love this tent. I used it for 30 to 35 nights. I can't remember, I don't count that stuff. But it's definitely worth it, I think. Because I'm doing longer distances, I walked the length of Scotland last year, having something that was spacious, because you're in it a lot. You know, I'll go into the attributes of why it was worth it. But yeah, for me, for how much I used it, for what it brought to the table, I do think it was worth it, because there's just nothing else like these ultra lightweight tents out there. You know, nothing really compares to them. These are for specific special use, you know, it's not just a general purpose tent this, and I was needing something quite specific.
I hope you like pain.
This tent, so I do think it was worth the cost in the end. If you're only using it a couple of nights a year, then don't get it, get something else. It's not worth it unless you've got the money to spend and you really need the lightest stuff you can get. Not maybe because you're doing mega distances, but because you might have back problems, knee problems, and you want to lighten your pack. So bug resistance, yeah, because it's got the mesh sewn in, super bug resistant, so no worries with mosquitoes, midges or ticks. Love it. It's a single wall tent. I never had any problem with condensation in it. Now there was condensation on the inside sometimes, but I don't even think the condensation ever even ran down the sides. Some mornings if I rubbed my finger across it I could feel it wet. I just had one of those little microfiber cloths that you clip to your pack, quick wipe down, and if it had been raining, the fabric doesn't absorb water and hold it like sil nylon does, but it, you know, it'll still bead and stay on it. So shake it off, wipe it off, wring it out, clip that and put it away, dry it at lunchtime or something. It dries super quick because it doesn't absorb anything. So yeah, I do think that for the weight saving you get with single wall, but I've got no worries, no concerns about single skin tents at all for me in the environment I've been using them for. Durability, how durable is it? Now Dyneema composite fibre, Cuban fibre, is really durable in the sense that it's very tear resistant and it can bear a lot of load and sort of pulling forces, but it's not very good with abrasion or puncture. So as long as you don't drag your tent along the ground, maybe if you've got it strapped to the top of your pack, scraping against stuff, it'll wreck it fairly easily. If you look after it and bear that in mind and just be careful what you do with it once it's erect, it's durable. They are durable. It's not like they break down. It looks like, you know, it does look, when you get it you're like, whoa, that's really, feels really flimsy, but they're not. So yeah, no worries for me there either. As long as you look after your kit, see if you're someone that's rough with your stuff, don't get a Cuban fibre tent, get something and get like a duomid and sil nylon. It's a lot cheaper and, you know, not massively heavier. Alright, it's got some other problems with absorbing water and stretching during the night in the rain, but you won't feel so upset when you wreck it. Ease of use. The duplex is really easy to use. See, once you've pitched it a couple of times you get the hang of it. It's super easy. Now it is kind of, there's a knack to it when if it's a totally flat surface you can nail it every time. If it's uneven, if it's a slope, if there's bumps, there's a bit of noodling and adjusting the guy lines, maybe adjusting the pole height, but you can get it, you will nail it. A wee bit of practice and you'll be fine. So yeah, it's really easy to use, and because it's just a single skin with a sewn in bug netting, it just all goes up in one. Stake it out in the four corners, put the poles in, pull it taut, stake them down, boom, you're up. Just guy out a couple more, but it's really easy to use. How many people? The duplex I would say is a one person tent, but it's more like a 1.5. It's a spacious one-man tent, I would say. 2 people can get in it, put their gear in the vestibules, no problem, but it would be a tight fit. I'd probably get the triplex for that. You want a wee bit more room, you don't want to be too cramped up, but if weight is your ultimate goal, 2 people will fit in it. And if you look at my Zpacks Duplex versus MLD Duomid, you'll actually see me inside this. You can see how much room is actually inside the thing. So certainly for me with my dog Moss, you know, if you're out in long grass, say, and risk of ticks, I like to have my dog and all my gear inside, plenty of room for you and all your stuff. It just keeps it free from smell, you know. So it's plenty big for one person. Just bear in mind there'll hardly be any space inside the tent if there's 2 use for your gear. 2 use will fit in no problem, all the gear will need to go outside. A big plus to the Duplex is the fact that you can set it up as a freestanding tent. I think that's a really good accessory to have. All the latest tents are getting shipped with attachments. You can buy the pack to retrofit them, so I really like that they've got the freestanding option. They've got a couple other options like the extender poles for the side if you're not using the freestanding kit, just to pull it a bit bigger so the sidewalls have a steeper angle, a steeper vertical angle for us taller people. So rather than it coming like it's more like around your head and your feet. You can turn it into like a two-skin. Where the peaks are, there's little loops in the corners, and you can buy a bit of mesh and hook it up into the corners, so if you are really worried about condensation dripping on you, it'll run down, it'll hit that mesh. So it's a modular system. It's got a lot of really well thought out add-ons. I really do like that about this tent. It's really well designed. It's basically perfectly designed for the use that it's been intended for. Gear storage, like I said, for one person, massive, loads of room, tons of room. You've got the two vestibules, which you've got access to for the two sides, and you've also got like the space of another body beside you, so tons of storage room. Packability, the stuff sack isn't overly tight. This isn't the stuff sack that it comes in, this is a Zpacks medium bag. Now I've got it in this because, like I said, I put it in my zip and I can get it more like flat and rectangular, whereas the one that it comes with is the same colour as the tent and it's more of a round shape, but it's about that size. It's more dumpy, you know, and it's totally fine. It's just I've got this set up for going in my Zpacks Arc Zip, so I put that in the front pocket. And I guess if you had the Arc Blast, the mesh, you'd want it sort of flatter and wider, so it just slots in. So packability, medium stuff sack or the stuff sack it comes with, no problems. Don't fold it, by the way, because if you constantly fold it in the same spot, it'll weaken it. Just crunch it in, or like fold it differently every time. Speed of setup, because it's an all-in-one and it uses the two trekking poles, I tested it, you can set it up in 2.5 minutes, that's it. So no time at all, mega quick. Maybe if you want to take a wee bit more time putting out more guys and tensioning up different things, it'll be another 60 seconds, but 2.5 minutes, it goes up in 2.5 minutes. I've had this 35 days in Scotland in all weathers, loads of wind, rain, and it's held up. I've never been concerned once. I'll put an end card up to link you to a Zpacks Duplex wind and rain test that I've done. I was basically hiking on an island, and one of the nights it was a storm that blew in, and I'm filming during the night, me inside the tent and how it's bearing up, and I'll look over it the next day to to see is it loosened, is it deformed, is it wrecked, is it let water in. It was totally fine, but you can check out that video now or later on if you want to. So yeah, for weather, no worries there, no worries. In fact, one of the nights I woke up and there was literally, first of all I thought there was a huge pool of water inside the tent, but it was actually underneath. There had been a hollow and it pouring rain, it had gathered under this hollow, so you could go and none of that water came through the bathtub floor, and that was awesome. It's really good tent, by the way, really pleased with it. Delighted with it, really glad I got it. You can check out my importing Zpacks to the UK video if you're interested in how much it costs over and above the list price on the Zpacks website. When you do the dollar to pound conversion, you've got the import duty, you've got VAT to pay on that. If you look up that video, it goes through it in total detail. In that video I've just got a recent Zpacks order and it's fresh in my mind, so I'll break it all down so you'll know exactly what you're paying. But it's about 600 quid. So yeah, that's my full review of the Zpacks Duplex. My thoughts on it, really pleased with it. And if you be honest with yourself and your key priority is weight, basically, and you're looking for, I need the lightest tent I can get, and you're going to be hiking, deep, not in the depths of winter, and you're prepared to be selective with the campsites you pick up. With any tent, there's always good points and bad points. You could get a bomber tent that you can pitch anywhere, but it's going to be maybe like 2.5, 3 kilograms, or it's going to be 1.5 kilograms and it's going to be tiny. Whereas this is a nice spacious thing. But if you really need an ultra lightweight tent and you're going to use it enough, and the weather and the conditions that you'll be hiking in are so that you're not going to have ferocious storms and wind and craziness every night, and you're not going to be exposed. Like when I went camping at winter, I just went into the trees. I came down off the hillside and just went into the trees and found a place to camp there, rather than just pitching wherever. So there's ways and means, but if weight is your key priority, I really do recommend this. What you get for the weight, easy use, the space, the features, the add-ons, this is definitely my favourite tent for sure.